In this series, we're covering everything that you need to know to get started filming personal brand video content so that you can grow your online coaching business and scale your impact faster. This video will show you how to set up and shoot personal branding videos with your phone. If you stick around until the end, I'm going to hook you up with 3 bonus tips to avoid getting stuck while you're creating your video content. If you're an online coach who wants to grow your personal brand and scale your impact faster, make sure you hit that subscribe button followed by the bell for notifications so that you can get notified of my future videos. Just a heads up, I will have links in the description below with recommendations for all the equipment you're going to need to get set up. All right, so let's get our tripod set up. I'm going to be using this Manfrotto phone clamp with this, I don't even know how to say that, doesn't matter. It's a ball head. And so just going to screw this in to the phone clamp. The reason why I want the ball head is because it gives you a little bit more flexibility in the angle of your camera when you're mounting it on a tripod. So we're going with this one because it is very stable. It's pretty affordable. I think I got this at Best Buy for like under 40 bucks. I'll have some links in the description below to show you some tripods that you can use. This one just happens to have really great height, so I'm going to use this one to set this up. So there's a quick release plate, just going to remove this. So I'm just going to attach the quick release plate to the bottom of the ball head. Tighten that up. I'm going to place the phone in the clamp, lift that up, and then press that to lock it in so the phone can't fall out of it. It's pretty tight. And then we're going to make sure that this is nice and level. And you can see I've got that slight downward angle here so that I'll be looking up into the camera lens rather than looking down at it. So you can see I've got these lines on the screen that gives me the rule of thirds so I can tell where to stand. Some people like to stand off to the side on one side of the third because it's more visually appealing to the eye. Never use the built-in mic on your phone. It's garbage and it doesn't sound good, and you want your audience to stick around. Audience retention matters. It's one of the most important things to measure while you're creating video content, and the built-in mic is just not made to capture good quality audio. You could just use your headphones. I've got a video up here I'll link that shows you how to use different methods to capture better audio with your phone. So the first thing I'm going to need is this converter cable in order to get the signal into this phone because it's a Type-C. If you have an iPhone, you might need this converter as well. I'm using a Rode wired lavalier mic for this, and the cable is pretty short, so I've got this extension cable here. We're going to use this to get some more length. Something to keep in mind is if you're using a third-party application and an external microphone, you may need to go into the audio settings and make sure that you have the correct microphone set, because sometimes it might be the USB microphone, which is what you want for this app. Camera microphone would be the actual built-in mic, and like I mentioned, you don't ever want to use that. So that's good to go. Bonus tip, always look directly into your lens when you're talking. It's your audience and it's going to convey who you are better. It's going to help you show up and communicate more effectively. It's kind of awkward, it seems strange, you're looking into a lens on a camera, but you have to treat it like it's your audience, like it's your friend. All right, now we're gonna look at some phone settings. Whether you're on Android or iPhone, it doesn't matter. I'm just gonna go through some basic settings, what you're looking for when you're doing videos kind of like this, where we're doing a talking head video. I'd recommend shooting in the highest resolution you have available on your phone. If you have 4K resolution, then go ahead and use that because you're gonna have more flexibility when you're editing to zoom into different things, and you can crop stuff out. It's really cool. And if that doesn't work for you, you don't have it, then that's okay. Just use 1080p HD. I'm sure your device has that setting on it. Next, we're gonna look at frame rates, and your phone may or may not have all these settings. It's okay. Look for 24 frames per second, 29.97, 30 frames per second if you're doing a talking head video, kind of like I am right now. These frame rates look better when you have people on camera who are talking. It could be an interview or something you're doing. That's the recommended frame rate for those. For visual shots, also known as B-roll, try 60 frames per second and see if you can get some really good slow moving panning shots over different items. Say you're a nutritionist and you want to get some visuals of like chopping food and stuff like that, then make sure you shoot with the 60 frames because it's going to give you the ability to slow it down and speed it up when you're editing, and you get to have lots of fun with that. The next thing is you want to make sure you have solid exposure and focus, and not a lot of applications that come with phones, iPhone or Android, give you the ability to manually control things like ISO, the exposure, the aperture, stuff like that, or the focus of the lens. And so if you don't have that kind of control and you'd like to try some of that stuff out, just keep in mind you might need a third-party application. I'm using Filmic Pro. And honestly, if you want to dig into this, and I definitely recommend checking out my friend's channel. His name is Dee Nimmins. He has an entire channel focused on specifically showing people how to use their phones to create content. So the next thing we're gonna do is set up a light on top of the setup. There's actually a shoe mount here, so I can use a aperture light. It's just this little one here with a ball head on it. So I'm gonna set this up on top. You could do this differently. I actually have a video that will show you how to set up 3 different lighting styles. You can check that out in the link in the description below. This is gonna be a flat lighting profile. So I'm just gonna mount that. Make sure that this is nice and tight so it can't slip out. This is the smartphone setup. You can start to shoot personal brand videos with your phone with this very basic setup, and a couple of $100 if you really want to improve your audio quality. You know, get the external microphone, use something that you can, change or control your lighting situation a bit. This is just a super basic setup. I wanted to show you guys that you can get started filming personal branding content with nothing more than your phone and a couple other pieces of gear. Most importantly, just get started. Hit that record button and practice at the very least. You don't have to upload it, but I would recommend getting your first video online. Don't worry about what you're gonna talk about. Don't overanalyze it. I did that, but then I finally got to a point where it's just like, you know what? I need to just get started doing this consistently so I can develop the skill sets that come along with developing video content for your audience. And so that was the most important thing. You can check out my first video. It totally sucked, and like honestly, I knew that it was going to be bad, and I didn't really invest any time, effort, or energy into making it great because it was my first video. So just posted it, and that's how I got started. And I hope that you can do the same. 3 secret tips to help you avoid getting stuck and feeling frustrated. Tip number 1, understand there's going to be challenges. This process is about learning and developing the skills that you need in order to communicate on camera, to film and set up and shoot your videos, edit them, upload them, create thumbnails, distribute them online. How do you create content for other channels to drive traffic back? There's a lot of stuff that really goes into this, but that's okay. This is your opportunity to learn and develop high value skills that are gonna help you accelerate your growth and develop your personal brand. One of the things that never ends is actually investing your time and effort into understanding your audience. In the beginning, you might not have a clear picture of exactly who they are and what problems they're going through or what questions they have, but just always have that in the back of your mind and develop those skills around understanding what they're going through and how you can create content that helps solve problems. Step number 2, strive to be a servant leader. Lead by example. Put in the work to understand your subject matter and continue to invest in that, but then also implement it and walk the walk instead of talking the talk. And so that's really important that you do that because you want to be authentic in your content, and it's really important to be able to deliver your message in an authentic way. And in order to do that, you have to have a mindset of leading by example. Servant leaders are driven by purpose in helping others. And so in order to do that effectively, you really do need to understand what your purpose is and why you're going to be doing this work so that you can continue to push through the challenges that are going to come up. I promise they will. This book here, Millionaire Success Habits by Dean Graziosi, actually showed me a method for discovering your why. It's 7 layers deep. You basically just keep asking yourself, why is this important to you? Why is that important to you? Why? And you keep going and go through that process. You can also check out Simon Sinek, Start With Why. There's lots of resources now. I've gone through multiple processes to understand this, and I feel like I'm always still learning. I don't think you ever really arrive at all of a sudden you have this clearly defined why and then that's what it's going to be for the rest of your life. I believe that you're going to evolve your why over time, and it's just important to get really clear about what that is for you. Dig a little bit deeper than the first couple of responses where you're just kind of thinking, and you want to kind of get into the heart and really discover what it is that's going to drive you to keep going through the challenges. And if you find that you're getting stuck and you're not being persistent or consistent in your content and creating content for your audience, then maybe you need to dig a bit deeper into your why. When it it comes to video content and being a servant leader that leads by example, it's really important to shift your focus on your audience. Instead of talking about yourself, your personal brand and your content is really about your audience and the problems they're going through. So make sure that you're always focusing on them. Tip number 3, long-term commitment. Personal development is a lifelong journey. One of my favorite quotes is by Eric Hoffer: "The learners shall inherit the earth, while the learned shall be beautifully equipped for a world that no longer exists." The point is, you should always be learning and investing in your personal development. To play a long-term game, you should go into this thinking, I'm gonna commit to weekly releases for at least 2 years, 17 to 24 months minimum of releasing content on a weekly basis. And wrap your head around that concept, because it's gonna take a lot of time and effort and energy to do it, but you'll get faster and you'll increase your workflow and you'll start to enjoy it more, and you're gonna see your skills and your ability to communicate and show up for your audience improve drastically over time. And so that's why I say you have to play the long-term game and consistently upload content for 2 years. Don't get wrapped up in thinking your video content is great. You have to be testing and measuring everything. I've been there, lots of YouTubers have. They put lots of time and effort and energy into making a video. You upload it and then nothing happens. It's like crickets. But sometimes, you know, a couple months later, then you start to get some traction and more views and comments on the videos, and it's encouraging. But you have to really eliminate that mindset of like, this is good and I deserve this, or I should be getting more views, or any of that stuff. You really have to come from a place of servitude and look at your analytics to make sure that people aren't dropping off at a certain time, and invest in learning so that you're able to deliver better and learn all of the stuff that you need to do to make this work. So with that being said, never expect results overnight. Question of the day: where are you at in your video content journey? Have you got started? Let me know in the comments below what you're working on right now. I really want to know what stage you're at and how I can help you better. If this video was helpful, make sure you click one of these playlists up here that's going to help you grow your personal brand faster and scale your impact with video content marketing. Thank you so much for watching to the end. If you got any value out of this video, like always, please give it that thumbs up button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and I hope to see you in another video.